Mercedes Morr to fame online after becoming well-known in nightclubs. She had more than 2.6 million Instagram followers and was frequently spotted out and about with high-profile celebrities like Drake Travis Scott. As her fame and fortune grew, she doubled her modeling empire by entering the world of OnlyFans, which quickly increased the demand for her content from her audience. Things were going great for the young model, and she even had plans to branch out from modeling by launching her own clothing line. Sadly, her success would end in an instant, with the world reeling with shock and anger, and influencers fearing for their own safety. But what exactly happened to Mercedes, and what were the most important lessons learned from her experience?
An Instagram model with more than 2 million followers is found murdered in Richmond.
Tonight, police say they don't know, or don't rather have a motive, but the suspect is dead too. Our Grace White is following the case.
Grammy Award-winning musician pays tribute to a Houston Instagram model who lost her life on Sunday. Drake gave Miss Mercedes Morr a special place on his album, Certified Lover Boy. Janae Gagne, the 33-year-old's real name, was strangled at her house. We will be visiting Houston, Texas, in light of this story. The fourth biggest city in the U.S., Houston is home to the well-known Space Center, well-known restaurants, fascinating museums, and lovely green areas with a bayou slicing through the center of the city. Growing up, Mercedes Morr, originally known as Janae Gagne, had a vibrant social life. She reportedly used to be a dancer, but changed her career to become a model and influencer when it became really famous. She was raised in a lovely household. She is also reported to have been friends with Cardi B and Drake, among other celebs. Her parents were kind and gentle individuals. She also has a gorgeous sister named London. As per certain accounts, Miss Morr had a platform where men who admired her would give money to her simply for enjoying her content. Certain men feel that if they give money to a woman at any stage of their non-romantic connection, they should be able to access her. This can occasionally lead to very dangerous situations. That would be the situation with Kevin Accordo, 34, who felt abandoned and abused. Unverified rumors claim that Kevin had been sending money to Miss Morr in hopes of receiving a reward, but he never did. Kevin made the decision to act independently. Kevin would go from Florida to Houston, Texas on August 29th, the day Miss Morr moved into her gated and guarded neighborhood. After a considerable length of time, he managed to locate her place through stalking her. Then, with little difficulty, he would enter the alleged gated community and proceed to Miss Morr's apartment, where he managed to speak with her. Little is known about their interactions inside, but it would subsequently come to light that Kevin had strangled Miss Morr to death in her apartment. After breaking down Miss Morr's front door, her father discovered her death on Sunday morning. He said that his daughter had not been in contact with him throughout the weekend, which was unusual for her.
We keep her private. Nobody, not even her real friends, really knew her name. I've moved my daughter 3 times just because of my insecurities and the freeze, of course, but she doesn't have friends by her house. I know my daughter, and when I got to my daughter's house and it was locked up and she's not answering my phone, which is not like her, I knew something was up, so I didn't hesitate to kick the door down. And what I saw, I wouldn't want any parent to go through. That's the first thing. The second thing is, which is even more hurtful,
he would discover her daughter dead when he got inside. He went up the steps, supposing she had fallen, only to see an unidentified man in some sort of distress. When discovered, he was reported to be twitching and gurgling. Later on, that man was recognized as Kevin Accordo. When the police arrived on the scene, they saw that he had written his love confession, apology, and declaration of love for Miss Morr on the wall, all in Miss Morr's lipstick. There have also been some remarks that seem to indicate why he did what he did. In addition to those who had nothing to do with the crime, they expressed regret to the landlord for damaging his home, and the most significant one, which was about how she gave me the impression that she liked me, despite wearing a ring that belonged to someone else. Kevin was probably talking about this video that she uploaded to her Instagram account.
Mystery still surrounds an Instagram model's murder in Richmond. Tonight, her millions of followers are still asking why. Our Grace White is back on the case tonight and has new details. Grace?
What makes this case so complex is social media. Janae Gagne's family says she didn't know the man who killed her. Now police are poring over her millions of followers to try to find him.
Did you recover any weapons, any guns, any knives? Did you recover anything from the crime scene?
I don't want to release what we have or have not recovered. I will tell you there was no shooting involved.
Motive is still the biggest mystery in the murder of Instagram model Miss Mercedes Morr. The 33-year-old was found strangled to death in her Richmond apartment Sunday. The man identified as the suspect, 34-year-old Kevin Accordo from Florida.
What about his car? Do you know how he got here from Florida? Did you recover a car?
That is information. That is information that is part of the case that I won't release. It has to do with tracking him from how he got to Texas.
Another question police are still trying to answer: how did he get in? There were no signs of forced entry, and it's a gated complex. Somehow, though, he found a way in.
You have to kind of understand those apartments. You can enter 3 different ways: through the garage, through the back door, through the front door. So it makes it difficult to understand.
But police in the small town of Richmond vowing to get answers in what's been the highest profile murder case they've seen in years.
There will be closure for the family. Before this case ends, there will be closure for the family.
We asked police about restraining orders and if this suspect had a criminal history. So far, they've found none of that. Police did tell us they've been in touch with this man's family in Florida and hope to learn more about his motive.
She was sweet with them as she is with us. She took care of people. She's just a sweetheart. And my baby's gone from a tragic event that didn't have to happen. And it's just dangerous.
According to the Fort Bend County Medical Examiner, Miss Morr's death from strangling and a severe concussion was a homicide. They claimed they had no idea if Kevin was one of her Instagram followers or a member of other social media accounts that she managed, such as those on Facebook, OnlyFans, Snapchat, and Twitter, and that had substantial followings. The police were also unsure about Kevin's methods for finding Miss Morr's private property and breaking into the guarded apartment complex, which only had 3 entrances: the garage, the back door, and the front door, none of which displayed signs of forced entry. That's still not clear to me. Following the news of her death, numerous speculations went widespread on the internet. An increasing amount of social media accounts and gossip websites have implied, without providing evidence, that Kevin is Miss Morr's financial father. Her family members went on to refute those unverified reports.
News stories and calls and everything started popping up without reaching out to the parents, without reaching out for information. And it went from false accusations of HIV or COVID to other things, and nobody even reached out to talk to us. So when I was contacted, I'm here to set the story straight, let everybody know what happened. Janae was very loved, and she's probably loved more than we would have thought of. I knew my daughter had a large following, and I knew she had some friends that, in not high places, but friends that were influential. I didn't know all the love that she had, and hopefully we're able to, give her a memorial or do something for her in a way that everybody is happy with, and everybody will be able to have closure like we want closure.
Yeah, we just want a respectful service. Again, she's a human being, and we just were not wanting to see the disrespectful comments that were on social media. It was horrific.
Now, the family of an Instagram model who was killed is now speaking out. We first told you about the death of Miss Mercedes Morr yesterday.
Authorities say her body was found in her apartment in Fort Bend County, along with the body of a man who killed her on Sunday. And now her family has come forward to share their heartbreak as they search for answers following this disturbing discovery. KPRC 2's Jacob Rascone live in Richmond tonight with the new details. Jacob?
The family says they hadn't heard from her for a couple days, so they showed up here to the apartment complex When no one answered when the dad knocked, he kicked the door in and said he found his daughter there on the floor, already deceased, and her killer upstairs with a knife in him, still alive. To her parents and other family and friends, 33-year-old Janae Gagne was so much more than an Instagram model.
She was special. Just like she had a few million followers, that's all fine and good. But she was a person, and we miss her a lot.
Searching us out to get the facts. Janae was loved, funny, goofy, crazy as hell. I know, and I shouldn't say that about my daughter, but that's my daughter.
2.6 million followers on Instagram knew her as Mercedes Morr. What happened on Sunday was the family's worst nightmare. Attacked, they say, by a stalker.
How this guy found her, I don't know, but me walking in and finding my daughter and finding him, something that a parent should never bear.
She's very cautious about her surroundings. Unfortunately, someone basically was stalking and killed my baby.
Police say Kevin Accordo lived in Florida and did not know Janae. His only criminal record, traffic violations.
It does hurt as a parent to know you're bearing your child before, you pass away.
Feeling as a father that you can't protect your daughter and something happens like this?
Janae was just a light, to be honest, and not just outside of the home, but she was very protective of me, protective of her dad, and she just was always the sweetest thing.
Exactly how the suspect got here from Florida, got in the house, found her, all of that we still do not know. We watched the family remove her belongings from the home today, and they're currently making funeral arrangements.
Family and friends held a vigil on her behalf.
Tonight, dozens of friends and family members of 33-year-old Houston area influencer Janae Gagne gathered at Terry Hershey Park to say goodbye. Police say the woman was murdered late last month by a man who somehow got into her apartment and strangled her. Our Matt Doherty was at the vigil with the story.
The shocking murder is still very much a mystery to so many of the people who showed up to the vigil tonight. The social media influencer known online as Miss Mercedes Morr had millions of followers. They included celebrities such as Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, and Drake. In fact, Drake dedicated his new album to the model today. TMZ reports Cardi B has been invited to Gagne's celebration of life service tomorrow. At tonight's vigil, we heard from her parents.
She just was so happy and so funny and just so loving, and she just loved to
It
joke
would be all
around.
about her.
Yeah, as it is.
We wouldn't be up here. It would be all about you.
As it should be. As about her. And again, we're going to remember that amazing spirit, that funny laugh, that 4'11" body, but that 8-foot tall, experience that we all got. So I appreciate her and love her, and we'll miss her forever and ever. Ever and ever.
Richmond police have released a few details on the murder so far. However, police say 34-year-old Florida man Kevin Accordo strangled Gagne. They have not said what they believe was the motive for the crime. Tonight, family members and friends shared their tears and their memories of a life that was taken far too soon.
An investigation is being conducted to identify a motivation in this instance. We send our deepest sympathies to Jenna Gagne's family and friends. We hope her family's desired outcome is achieved as soon as possible. I'll see you all in the upcoming video, so please be careful.